Okay, guys, we need to talk about Jerome Powell. At 4:32 p.m. yesterday afternoon, Jerome Powell posted a special address to the nation on the official Federal Reserve social media account. It's not just Twitter, but everywhere. 237,000 likes. He's going to be an influencer. And he had this to say in a short 2-minute address.
On Friday, the Department of Justice served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings.
Okay.
I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy.
As do I.
No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings.
What's it about?
It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts.
So what's it about?
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
Pause right there. Full stop. Just to be super clear what he's saying, I am being criminally indicted over this new Federal Reserve building we're building. They're saying that it's got crazy cost overruns, that we're trying to scam the government or something. I am telling you right now, nobody's above the law, but this is a lie. It is a pretext to try and get me to lower interest rates that the president wants. That is what he's saying. He's saying it open. I mean, he's hinted at this. He's hinted that all the pressure that Trump has been putting on the Federal Reserve and the different members of it, not just him, is because of this. But he's been apolitical in his press conferences. Now he is openly saying what is going on.
This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. I have served at the Federal Reserve under 4 administrations, Republicans and Democrats alike.
And it's worth noting that he was originally appointed by Trump himself. Trump chose him and appointed him, but he has not, he has maintained the Federal Reserve's independence.
In every case, I have carried out my duties without political fear or favor, focused solely on our mandate of price stability and maximum employment.
Dude, even in a 2-minute video, he has to mention the dual mandate. Even in a 2-minute video about how the president is straining and breaking the rule of law and central bank independence, he has to mention his dual mandate.
Public service sometimes requires standing firm in the face of threats. I will continue to do the job the Senate confirmed me to do, with integrity and a commitment to serving the American people. Thank you.
I mean, you have to respect that. You have to respect that. This is an unprecedented time. And the man is standing up and saying, he didn't couch this in a lot of language. This is a 2-minute video. He said it directly and plainly what is going on. And listen, there's many things I've been critical of Jerome Powell, specifically for being a little bit late on raising interest rates in response to inflation. But I think this action, because of how insane it is and how much pressure has been put on, and the fact that he was appointed by Trump himself, has shown a good test of his character. His ability to stand firm in the face of ever mounting, increasing political and now like judiciary pressure is pretty impressive. But I want to explain what's going on in case you don't know. I always do this little bit of recap and I'll keep it really short. In response to this video, thousands of memes popped up instantly. A lot of memes popped up defending Jerome Powell, including a "We Are Jerome Powell" movement, including even the FT, which is not really a jokey publication, made free J. Powell t-shirts. This is like a London-based financial coverage newspaper. And I found out that actually, of all the public figures of the administration currently, Jerome Powell is currently the most favorable. Actually, all political leaders right now in America. He has the highest favorability rating, and especially the highest among independents. People generally feel that this guy, even if they disagree with him, is at the very least not nakedly political. He is trying to be an adult in the room. So here's why he's being pressured. The main thing that he controls, or has the strongest influence on is the ability to raise or lower interest rates in the United States. And as I've mentioned a million times, I'm trying to catch people up. If he raises them, the pros are that fights inflation. The cons are it costs more to borrow money. It might slow down growth. So it might slow down the job market. If he lowers them, like Trump wants, stocks go up, borrowing goes up, we goose the economy in the short term, but then it runs hot and we likely get inflation. This is the balance, this is the dual mandate. And so Jerome Powell is always trying to be, and I'm not saying he's been perfect on it. Honestly, I think the data they get is really bad and out of date and survey based, but they're trying to balance the data to balance between a cooling job market, a rising inflation. It's a dual mandate, they're balancing that, okay? And yet the pressure has been that Trump wants this. This benefits him in the short term. And he's not the first president to do this. We're gonna talk about this later. Many presidents have wanted interest rates down because in the short term, it juices things, helps them get either reelected, helps them in the midterms, etc. And so Trump really wants this. And he's been pounding the pressure on Jerome Powell. Originally, this happened. This is like in 2024, right after Trump was elected, before he started serving.
Some of the president-elect's advisors have suggested that you should resign. If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Damn.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No.
Do you believe the president has the power to fire or demote you, and has the Fed determined the legality of a president demoting at will any of the other governors with leadership positions?
Not permitted under the law.
Not what?
Not permitted under the law.
So that was the beginning of the feud here. And ever since then, Trump has been increasingly throwing direct insults at him, calling him too late pal, calling him an idiot, calling him a fool, including blaming his appointment on Joe Biden, when again, he was appointed by Trump. So, Jerome Powell aura-farming a bit. Not permitted under the law. No, I will not be stepping down just because the president wants me to. The entire point of the Federal Reserve being independent. In fact, it's not just an American thing. Central banks are independent in almost actually in every developed country, the world over, because the choice on whether to raise or lower interest rates should not be in the hand of a government that would benefit from this short-term bump, because they have every incentive to not care about the long-term problem and only do this. It has to be someone looking at the data. It has to be independent. Then the attacks on him after this ramped up. And the avenue they chose was that they were doing a reconstruction of the Federal Reserve building. And Trump decided that was the avenue they're going to attack Jerome Powell by saying there was too many cost overruns and that it was a scam on the public tax dollar. Remember this famous scene?
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
It's like The Office,
Our notes
dude.
had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. That's a third building.
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's not new.
So we're going to take.
I can't believe that's a real scene. I can't believe that's a real scene that happened. It's like The Office, bro. And I don't know that Trump is the best person to be trying to point out cost overruns in building construction. Because today, I looked up the original announcement of the White House ballroom construction on July 31st, 2025. And he said in this that it would cost $200 million. And then I found this clip from October of last year where he says,
Actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders.
well, then it's $300 million. And then I saw a clip from 3 days ago.
I know how to build under budget. I build good, but we won the case. They asked for a restraining order to stop us from building a magnificent ballroom. I said, who would ask for a restraint? We're giving them, Sid, a $400 million. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom, and it'll handle inaugurations.
And now it's a $400 million ballroom. And, you know, it's funny, it starts out by saying, like,
Always. I know how to build.
I always build under budget. It's like, if you keep increasing the budget, I'm sure eventually you will be under budget. It's a little bit of pot calling the kettle black here. It's crazy to be overrunning the cost of your own building while trying to criminally indict Jay Powell for the cost of the Federal Reserve building, as if that was his big scheme. And so the response today was pretty drastic. Obviously, every major outlet had some sort of coverage on this. I thought the FTs was pretty good. I thought Bloomberg's was pretty good. General idea is that there's a lot of panic because an independent Federal Reserve is the bedrock of every major developed nation's currency. It's how other people can, like, listen, I don't have my wallet on me. I want to hold up $1. let me do that. We'll have to cut this part out. I need $1 for this segment. This is a piece of paper. Like, the fact that this piece of paper can be used to buy food or gold or oil or real things, real physical things in the world is primarily a function of trust. People own this because other people own this because they trust it. I trust it because you trust it because I trust it. The bedrock of this, as in having any store of value, especially outside of our country. In our country, you have to have these pieces of paper to pay your taxes legally. They'll hold guns at you, metaphorically, and make you pay taxes with these. But outside of the country, the reason that people hold this is some aspect of trust in the rule of law, the institutions, this is why this has value. And so I want to look at some historical examples here, because while the immediate reaction, you might say, oh my God, people might sell America. Investors might dump US assets. The truth is, the way stuff like this plays out is usually not with a stock market going down. People might look at the market today and like, it was pretty flat. Like this Jerome Powell thing's not a big deal. That's not what central bank independence leads to. It doesn't usually lead to stock crash. In fact, it's the opposite. First, I want to figure out where Trump might have gotten this idea. And I think I figured it out. I realized that the reason we just had the operation in Venezuela was not to kidnap Maduro. It was to bring him to America so Trump could pick his brain for economic policy. Because in 2016, Maduro did this exact same thing. His new decree abolished central bank independence, placed it directly under his own control, curbed all legislative oversight, and made it so that he could raise or lower interest rates at will, which he did. He dumped interest rates. The response was, over the year of 2016, inflation hit 800%. There was massive monetary stimulus and printing. There's other things involved too, but this is a huge part of it. It's a huge part, and it's other countries. But what do you think happened to the Venezuelan stock market during this time? This is an economic crisis. Over this period of time, let's say like 2013 through 2020, 8 million Venezuelans fled the country, okay? It was an economic disaster. What do you think happened to the stock market? Probably crashed, right? It mooned. This is what happens in a time of inflation. Because the currency is devaluing, the nominal value of the stocks will go up. It'll seem like it's going up. I'll give you an example. If you had a loaf of bread in a market in Iran 2 years ago, I'm gonna give a random number. Let's say you could sell that loaf of bread for 500 rial. If you magically held that loaf of bread for 2.5 years right now, and you go back to that same market, you can sell it for like 1.5 million. Are you rich? No. The currency is just collapsed. You're just getting a bigger number for the same product. You're not getting a new, stocks may well go up, but it's in response to a deteriorating dollar. In fact, I saw a great analysis of what's going on with this Jerome Powell thing today by pointing out that stocks today are down in gold terms, because while stocks went a tiny bit green, I guess, gold was very green today. The off-ramp is people getting out of these America-based assets into harder assets because they don't trust, they're losing trust in the dollar and in the institutions. This is a 2016 article. The world's best stock rally was Venezuela in 2016, but it's an illusion. It's a fiction. It's the deterioration of the currency. And of course, by 2021, they had to introduce 1 million Bolivar bill. This is the kind of direction. Now again, US is a reserve currency and a bigger thing, but this is the kind of direction you go in when you lose trust. in your currency, in the idea that it's being managed independently. Same thing happened with Erdogan in Turkey. He fired the central bank head, took control himself. Then the value of their currency plunged. It's a repeatable thing. You can find it over and over and over. Autocrats that try to manage this stuff themselves and take full control for their short-term benefit have long-term deep inflation. By the way, their stock market went up. Argentina, same thing. Their stock market went up. This is not a sign of a healthy economy. Both these countries had economic collapse, but their stock market did fine. It's a deterioration of the value of their currency. But even this has happened in America, okay? So I want to take you back to tricky Dick Nixon here. Dick as in Richard, not there's something wrong with his dick. In 1960, Nixon lost the election to Kennedy. Then something happened. And by 1968, Nixon ended up winning. Nixon blamed his loss in 1960 on the economy. He said the economy was bad and that was the reason he lost. Now it's probably because he looked like a sweaty pig on TV and other things, but whatever. He blamed the loss on the economy. And he was worried about his upcoming re-election in 1972. He wanted to win this re-election. So he went to the central banker at the time, a friend of his, Arthur Burns, and he did a lot like what Trump is doing now. He put an insane amount of pressure on the guy. This guy was not Jerome Powell. This guy did not have a backbone. This guy did not have a spine. He did not stand up to Nixon. In fact, you can read his diaries, which I have. He's beside himself. So he is under pressure from Nixon.
Jay Powell wants to be the next Arthur Burns.
He doesn't want to be Arthur Burns.
You're avoiding being another Arthur Burns.
Arthur Burns.
A lot of people made the comparison. Jerome Powell does not want to be another Arthur Burns, where you crack and cave to the president. So he caves. By the way, Nixon openly would be like at events with this guy and making jokes like this.
I respect his independence. However, I hope that independently he will conclude that my views are the ones that should be followed.
So he just bullied him. I mean, he bullied him privately and made fun of him publicly. And eventually Arthur Burns caves and he lowers interest rates beyond what they should have been lowered. And in the short term, it works for Nixon. Much like this might work in the short term for Trump. In the short term, it juiced the economy a little bit. Nixon wins in 72. And then what do we get? The great inflation of the 1970s. The largest inflation we've had. Massive, massive, world-changing inflation. Long-ass gas lines and chaos and panic and problems that eventually had to be solved by bringing in this badass, Paul Volcker, to wave his cigar around and crank up interest rates like 20%. He had to break the back of inflation by literally causing a recession. It was the only way at that point because we were at runaway wage price spirals. We don't have, like even Jerome Powell, who we're calling a Giga Chad, was only able to get it up to like 5%, 4.5%, 5% before he had to stop because everything was too creaky. Volcker had to go to 20. Like, we don't have anybody like this anymore. This person doesn't exist. We don't have the ability to do that. And also our debt is so much higher, we couldn't even survive it. So the idea that we can let it get as bad as we let it get in the 70s is a fantasy. If we lose the independence, this guy's not gonna come along and bring it back. That was a kind of a lucky moment in the 70s. And we're already seeing, I mean, look, people and work at Publix in Florida are like outraged because they're seeing $61 steak. Prices of certain food, like steaks, not really eggs anymore, but certain foods are getting crazy. We're having crazy inflation on things already. And that is before we drastically cut interest rates to Trump's will. Additionally, we're already seeing backlash today. It's been less than 24 hours since this happened, and we're already seeing backlash. Congress is stepping up. Even, Tom Tillis, who is a North Carolina Republican senator has backed Trump, said if there was any remaining doubt whether advisors within the Trump administration are actively pushing to end the independence of the Federal Reserve, there should now be none. Now, he still has to say this. He has to say advisors within the Trump administration. One thing I've noticed is that they can never critique Trump directly. If he makes a mistake or does something bad, it has to be because he has a bad advisor. It's like someone's giving him wrong information. He's obviously a hero, but there's a problem. Yeah, good czar, bad boyars is like there's the Russian saying. He says, but he said something pretty solid. I will oppose the confirmation of any nominee for the Fed until this legal matter is fully resolved. So basically what he's saying is he will not vote to confirm Trump's new picks in May because this is the big race coming up. There's an apprentice style contest between these two Kevins, okay? Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh. Pretty much no matter what in May, Jerome Powell is going to be replaced with a Kevin. It may be sooner if this legal battle goes anywhere. And the truth of the matter is, whether it's one Kevin or another, The FT put it pretty simply. The next Fed chair is going to be Donald Trump in a mustache. Like, it's obvious that the reason he's having this contest is to find which one is the most subservient, who is going to do exactly what he says. And the only hope we really, I don't want to be too hyperbolic here, but the truth is, I do think that Jerome Powell will be steadfast and will stay until the end of his term. I don't think he's going to let this legal battle kick him out. Then we're going to get one of these two guys. And our only hope is that, like Jerome Powell, they are nominated by Trump, but once they get in office, they maintain its independence, which is what he did. If either of them doesn't do it, if they're like Arthur Burns, then we have a real problem. And it's likely going to be real consequence with inflation. Based on every other time this has happened, things will get more expensive quicker. Again, it's 40 to 39%. It's a dead heat. Even Lisa Murkowski, Republican senator from Alaska, says it's clear the administration's investigation is nothing more than an attempt at coercion. If the Federal Reserve loses our independence, the stability of our markets and the broader economy will suffer. Even Republicans are defecting, which is why, to wrap this up a little bit, within 24 hours, Trump said, I don't know anything about this. He denied his involvement in this subpoena on Jerome Powell. He pretended he had nothing to do with it. And then he had Jeanine Pirro throw herself under the bus and say, I didn't have sign off from my bosses, as he's trying to distance himself from the matter. It's very obviously his pressure, his choice. He is constantly insulting Jerome Powell, constantly trying to get lower interest rates. But now she acted independently, alone, clearly trying to pull back. And my understanding is that Scott Bessent was like raging because he knows this is the dumbest. Like right now, America more than ever needs to project, at least financially, stability. There is a great unrest with the dollar. Last year, American markets, despite being up 14%, were underperformed like every other major market. The rising prices in gold and in silver are a huge warning sign to the debasement of the US currency. And the people that know what they're talking about, at least like Scott Bessent, are desperate to try and project some level of confidence and strength and stability. And Trump is doing everything to undermine this. What happens next will come down to this, but we have to put our faith in one of these two Kevins to be a double agent. I'm not super hopeful, but that's where we're at. And that's what happened today with the investigation of Jerome Powell. Thank you for watching. By the way, my break is going so swimmingly. Every 2 days I'm back here. Thanks for watching.